Good evening, good evening, good evening. I want to welcome you to Mr. Jones's Reading Corner. Today, I'm going to switch it up a little bit, and this time I want to talk about figurative language. When we talk about figurative language, it is a series of things that the authors do in order to make a story fun, other than just the illustrations. He uses different words, things like similes, metaphors, and the one that I want to talk about today in this book, this author here is going to be using something called the onomatopoeia. Yes, say that 3 times fast. Onomatopoeia. Now, some of you saying that's a big funny word. Yes, it is, but you use onomatopoeias all the time. For instance, when you say the corn popped in the microwave, the word pop is a onomatopoeia. Usually onomatopoeias are those words that sound like it and that give you a certain click. Okay? Mr. Jones just made a clicking sound with his tongue. That's another onomatopoeia. So as I read this story right here, I have this story called 3 Hens and a Peacock. Once again, the title of our story today is 3 Hens and a Peacock. So what's going to happen today as I read this story, I want you to engage with me today and see, can you notice any of the onomatopoeias or the figurative language that's going to be in our story today. The key thing you have to do is listen, okay? That's the key thing with the onomatopoeias, you have to listen. Our story today is written by Lester L. Laminack, illustrated by Henry Cole. Once again, 3 Hens and a Peacock. I want you guys to participate with me. I want to see who's able to find all of the onomatopoeias. If you see one or you hear me say one, then guess what? You're going to put it down in your reference screen or just give me a thumbs up. So here we go. 3 Hens and a Peacock. A lot of cool illustrations in this book too. Things were quiet on the Tucker's farm. The cows chewed their cud. The hens clucked and pecked and laid their eggs. The old hound stretched out on the porch, watching and listening. Once in a while, someone would stop by to buy tomatoes, corn, or perhaps a quart of milk. Nothing unusual happened until one day the peacock showed up. The cows and the hens and the old hound kept right on doing what they've always done. But that peacock had never really lived on a farm, and he had no idea of what he should be doing. So he spread his fancy feathers and set to shriek. Eventually, the peacock wandered down to the road. When cars whizzed by, he shook his feathers and cried out in his loudest voice. Of course, folks stopped for a closer look. Day after day, more folks stopped to admire the peacock, and they all bought tomatoes and corn, eggs, and milk. Business on the Tucker's farm was booming. Everyone seemed happy to have visitors stopping by. But trouble was brewing in the old hen house. The hens were squawking and cluck, cluck, clucking and flapping their wings. We do all the work around here. I like to see that peacock lay one single egg. Bark, bark, exactly. He just struts bark, 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 around screaming. I suppose fancy fellas there are more important than laying eggs. That lazy peacock gets all the attention, and all we do is work, 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 work. The peacock had heard every cruel word they said. For days he moped about, moaning and groaning. I wish I could be more useful around here. Humph! Clicked one hen. The others ruffled their feathers. The old hound stretched and slowly raised his head. Why not let the old peacock stay here to be useful while you hens take the glamorous job down by the road? The three hens began clucking to one another. What a wonderful plan. Yes, it's a fabulous idea. Oh, ladies, we simply must fancy our feathers tonight and nothing but the brightest beads, bangles, and bows. We'll stop traffic for sure. Why, you girls know I can strut with the best of them. The peacock perked up. Let's do it, he declared. Tomorrow I'll stay here, sit on the nest, and cluck, cluck, cluck. And we'll get all gussied up, said the hens. We'll be so glamorous. At sunrise the next morning, the hens strutted down to the road. The peacock marched right to the hen house and poked his head inside. The hens flocked by the road, waiting for a car. When they saw one approaching, they cluck, cluck, clucked and squawked, squawked and flapped their wings in a fluffy of feathers. But every car whizzed right by them. The peacock sucked in his tummy and wiggled from left to right, tried to squeeze through the tiny hen house door. His front half was in, his back half was out. Down by the road, those hens tried every chicken trick they knew. Still, no cars stopped. Finally, the peacock made it into the hen house. He held his breath and pushed with all his might, but no matter how hard he tried, he could not lay one single egg. Not one. The old hound stretched out on the porch, watching and listening. What's that peacock doing in the hen house? Asked Farmer Tucker. Who knows? Said Mrs. Tucker. And what are those hens doing down by the road? Not one of them is up here laying eggs. Well, the way things are going, we aren't likely to have anyone buying eggs today, said Farmer Tucker. We need that peacock down here stopping those cars. When the peacock heard that, he smiled the biggest smile he ever saw on a bird's beak. I'm helping, he thought. He squirmed back and forth until he popped out of the cramped hen house. Then he trotted off to find the hens. The exhausted hens were all clucked out. Every feather was out of place. What a day. We couldn't get one car to stop. It's true. Why, most of them didn't even slow down. The peacock met the hens as they trudged up the road. I can tell you, I'm not going to, or am I good at laying eggs, he said. I'm just not meant for it. One hen nodded. I put out my stellar strut, and even I couldn't stop a single car, she said. I have to hand it to you. Fancy feathers, your job is harder than it looks. The other hen agreed. The peacock looked relieved. So the hens marched back to the hen house. The peacock strutted down to the road. The old hound stretched out on the porch, watching and listening. And things were quiet again on the Tuckers' farm. Now, there were a lot of onomatopoeias in this story here today. Hopefully you had a chance as I was reading the story and listening, and you were able to at least put a couple of those onomatopoeias down there for you. Now, I would like to highlight a few of those onomatopoeias by doing a quick song for you. It goes to the old tune of Old MacDonald Had a Farm. Now, on our farm here today, instead of being Old MacDonald's farm, it's going to be Mr. Tucker's farm. Okay? Old Mr. Tucker had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. And on that farm he had a cow, E-I-E-I-O. With a moo-moo here and a moo-moo there, here a moo, there a moo, everywhere a moo-moo. Old Mr. Tucker had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. Okay? Second, old Mr. Tucker had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. And on that farm he had some hens, E-I-E-I-O. With a cluck cluck here and a cluck cluck there, here a cluck, there a cluck, everywhere a cluck cluck. Old Mick Tucker had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. Okay? Old Mr. Tucker had on his farm a dog. Old Mr. Tucker had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. And on that farm he had a dog, E-I-E-I-O. With a good woof woof here and a good woof woof there, here, there, woof, everywhere. Old Mr. Tucker had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. If you haven't realized it yet, yes, moo moo, cluck cluck, woof woof, they are all considered a part of figurative language, and yes, they are called onomatopoeias. Now, if you notice in our story, one of the animals that's not really on a farm but that showed up in a box on the farm was the peacock. So on this special farm right here, old Mr. Tucker had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. And on that farm he had a peacock, E-I-E-I-O. And he says with a shriek shriek here and a shriek shriek there, here shriek, there shriek, everywhere shriek shriek. Okay? So those are considered to be onomatopoeias. Now, also, what you should have picked out was as the cars whizzed by, okay? And that kind of adds a little extra to our story right here because they didn't just go by, they whizzed by. It's almost like the cars passed by and you hear the wind whizzing by. So those are all considered onomatopoeias, okay? So now, before I go today, I want you to see, can you interact with us with our story, 3 Hens and a Peacock. And this is what we call in the school an exit ticket. So I want to see who's going to do the exit ticket right now, and I'm going to respond to those that respond to me. What you need to do is, other than what's in the story, I want to see, can you name 3 onomatopoeias that you've heard before, okay? Once again, our examples are moo moo, cluck cluck, woof woof, shriek shriek. One of my other favorite examples is a clock goes tick tock, tick tock. All those are considered onomatopoeias. Today we're focused on our story, 3 Hens and a Peacock, but we wanted to focus on what we call figurative language. When we talk about figurative language, that's one of the many ways that an author can lighten up or make the story more interesting. But today's focus was onomatopoeia. I want to thank you all that joined in the live, and I thank those that joined us here today as they continue to share this. This is just something just want to do here in the evening time here. I encourage you to share this with elementary students, and I hope as a parent that you learn something yourself today. Thank you, and have a great and wonderful evening.